Hello, and welcome to another episode of Real World Analytics, What Schools Don't Teach You. This is another installment of my visualization series. I'll once again be talking about Google Charts, and in particular motion charts, which you may consider to be kind of the crown jewel of the Google Charts suite. These were popularized by Hans Rosling, may he rest in peace. He uses these to show the evolution of the world, and rather than try to describe more about what he's done, I'll let him do it. This is a video from the Davos Economic Forum. It's published under Creative Commons, so I'll just let him describe.
Let you show you how it can be looked like. I take my beloved bubble chart here. And what does it show? Each bubble is a country. The color here is where it's situated. Red Asia, yellow Europe, green America, and blue Africa. Size is population. This is China. Here, number of children per woman. And here on this axis, tragic child mortality. 100 per thousand dying, 200 per thousand dying, 300, and I start 1964. That is about 50 years ago, the year I started college. And then the world was clearly divided into one group of countries here we call the developing world. They had large families and high child mortalities. Some even have every third child dying up there. And then the developed world down there, small families, low child mortality. What has happened? I will play the world for you, and you will be able to see with your own eyes, have there been progress, have there not been progress? Here we go. Ready, steady, go. Can you see child mortality is falling? This is China. They had problems in that period, but then starts family planning in China, and they go down here and lower child mortality. India is following down there. Look, here comes Brazil, and Mexico follows there. These are North African countries coming. We are in the 1990s here, and we can see the African countries who have had problems coming down here. This is Ethiopia. Ethiopia is going on faster and faster, and everyone is going down, and they are going down into the corner with small families and low child mortality. It's an amazing progress.
So that's an introduction to motion charts. It's part of the Google Charts package now, and I have reproduced it. I've downloaded some data from Kaggle, the World Development Indicators, and I've reproduced the chart here. So here I have the same chart that Professor Rosling showed, and if I play it, you see the same general trend. But what I want to focus on is what are the features of these data that make this visualization effective. And there's a couple things. First of all, that you have this general motion from the upper right to the lower left, and everything's kind of following that trend. If you have data where there's no clear trend and all the points are just moving around, something like this becomes less effective. You do get tooltip information, so if you wanted to look at any individual point, and you can go back and forth with these things so that if you find a point that's doing something anomalous, or say this point whose data first appeared, you can go back and query what it is. Unlike Sankey charts, you can't customize the tooltip for these, but the configuration and the power of interrogating any individual point, in addition to the magic of the dots moving, makes this a very good visualization tool. But in terms of Google Charts, that's not the part that I like the most. Instead, what I like the most is the fact that you can use this as a BI tool. So if you didn't want to look at fertility rate, for instance, if you wanted to look at some economic variable, such as GDP, purchasing power parity. Now, the way this is scaled now, it doesn't mean much because of the huge range in values. So if I change this to a log scale, now I can see something very similar. And rather than mortality rate, if I look at the life expectancy, to have something a little bit more positive, how long people are living rather than how many children are dying. And if I play this, now you can see that people are getting healthier and richer throughout the world. So once again, this kind of false dichotomy that you have the developed world and the rest of the world, these lines are starting to blur. And if I look at this anomalous trend, if I go back to the global financial crisis in 2007, 2008, you can see a lot of these points starting to move backward during those years before the economic recovery and things moving on. So it's this ability to then go through and customize what I want to look at in terms of the color, size, with the colors automatically adapting to whether or not it is a continuous or a discrete variable. And I can use this as a BI tool. And it might not be as powerful as some of the other ones, but if your data are already in a data frame in R with a clear ID variable and a clear time variable, You can then use this to explore the rest of your variables in an interactive and quite nice fashion for free. So I hope you've enjoyed this introduction to motion charts in general, in particular Google Charts. And again, the point where this really shines is if you have a data frame in R and you have a clear indication of what you want to track, an ID variable, country in the case is demonstrated, you have a clear time variable such as year, there's a trend in one direction, not just points all moving about randomly. And if you have multiple variables, the ability to then configure what you want to view on each axis, what you want to use to represent the size or the color, really makes this shine. But have you used these? Do you have any experience showing motion charts to stakeholders? In addition to the kind of fascination that the dots are moving, have you been able to demonstrate any insights such as things moving counter to the general trend during the global financial crisis? If so, I'd love to hear about them. And otherwise, I'll see you next time on Real World Analytics, or What Schools Don't Teach You. Goodbye.